Hello, everybody. My name is Ramsey Sufian. I'm IMAGINiT's senior applications expert here with the building solutions team. My background is in construction, so I do come from industry. I have some years of experience in estimating and project engineering for both commercial and federal projects. So basically both in pre-con and construction. I always had a knack and a keen interest for construction technology, so that's kind of what led me to Twinmotion. But yeah, enough about me. Let's go ahead and get into our agenda for today. Today we're going to go over how to create your background and environment, etc. initially. Then we'll go ahead and add material to our model, and then we'll also add objects and characters for visual enhancements. Then finally, we'll prepare our renderings within Twinmotion to just show you guys the different ways that you can come up with the high quality images for your projects going forward. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this is my model that I have imported into Twinmotion. Whoops. And essentially, it's floating in the air right now, and it's kind of hard to navigate. But that is fine. We're going to go ahead and do some initial context. So whenever I have a floating model like this, the first and foremost thing I do is I import the landscape. Now with Twinmotion, you do have two landscapes that you can choose from. You have a rocky grasslands as well as a flat grassland. Here's a visualization of what each one looks like. So that's the flat, and this is the rocky. So yeah, depending on what you're trying to go for, you have those choices there. I like to start off with the flat simply because I can make a little more easier modifications to it. For example, the land is very flat, so I don't have to worry about the hills and mountains, covering my stuff. All I have to do is just move this up and down. So in order to do that, the first thing I like to do is utilize the Move Gizmo tool. And sometimes it is very hard to find. So if you ever come to a situation where you can't find your Gizmo tool, there's a couple ways that you can go about this. You can go to the XYZ positioning plane here, and then you can go ahead and modify the Z plane here. So maybe we'll give this like a -5, just like that, and then I think that's good. And then your land is now exposed and things are not being covered. So perfect. All right, and yep, our body of water is right here being displayed. So more on that here in a little bit. All right, now that I have my land in place, the next thing I need to do here is go ahead and tweak my horizon. So in order to tweak my horizon, what I can do is I can go ahead and go to my ambiance here. And then what I'm going to do from there is, let me get rid of this XYZ plane, and I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom here where it says horizon. So I'll go ahead and turn this on. There we go. Now my horizon is on. I have a lot of horizons I can choose from. I can choose from, anywhere from like a town, countryside, mountain. I kind of like that a little bit better. Bay, I can do city, island, so it's a little mixture of both. Think of like Utah or something, someplace like that. Bay, a waterfront, and then you have a European city. So I'm going to go with the mountains for now, just because I like it the way that looks. And then there's a couple of things I can do with the sky. Now, Twinmotion will initially give you a sky to start with, and that's just your sun and sky. And with the latest enhancements in 2025.1, you can do a lot more to the original sky. Now, there are some people that just don't like the original sky, so you do have some options here where you can go ahead and change the sky with some HDRI environments. But the only HDR environment that I would typically use is like an outdoor one. This will allow me to then, not only enhance the sky, but also my background as well. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. Sometimes it does take a couple of minutes here, depending on what type of HDRI environment you're using, but these are high quality backgrounds. All right, perfect. So it looks like it came on in. Still loading up though, so we'll give it a couple more minutes here. Perfect. So just like that, our HDRI environment has come in. Just like that, everything is filled in properly. So, yep. Right. So, yeah, you do have that option there. It looks like I do have some clouds here that I can utilize. So, okay, that's good. So this is a good background environment. I think I can go ahead and just keep it. The next thing I want to do is once I have all my site context filled, I want to go ahead and start adding material to my plane. But before I do that, I do recognize that this landscape is kind of choppy. What I mean by that is like a perfect graded land on top of another one. So typically you're not gonna have it like this in real life. I mean, you can if you wanted to, but typically you're gonna see more of a blended plane. So the way that you can go ahead and blend this now is by selecting the land itself, and then you're gonna go ahead and utilize the sculpting tool here. And diameter is going to increase your paintbrush. So this little circle thing, I'm not sure if you guys are able to see it, but around my mouse, this is my paintbrush. So right now it's actually pretty large. If I want to kind of reduce it, I can, and then that will, reduce it further. If I wanted to reduce or increase my intensity, I can do so here. So the intensity is just how intense I want it to be. So right now I just painted some land. Or I sculpted some land right there, but you can barely notice a difference. So if I increase this intensity and I just hold it for a few seconds, there you go. Now you're starting to see more of a difference. All right, but yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and probably put around 75% there, and I'm to start sculpting this land. Let me get at a better angle so that I can see everything. Just like that. Perfect. Might need to spend a little more time on this edge right here, since it is a lot higher. There we go. And just like that, in real time, I'm sculpting the land to blend in a little bit better. All right. So once you have your land kind of sculpted here, I'm just going to focus on this side. I don't have to do it all around the land because when I take my images, I'm not really going to focus too much on the other sides. But yep, this is a good starting point here. What I'm going to do from here now is I have a couple more options here. I have a digging tool, which will allow me to dig this site a little bit further down. I have a smoothing tool, a noise reduction tool. I have an erosion tool that will kind of just flatten it out and erode it a little bit better. And then I have a flatten tool, which will just give me like a flat plane altogether. But I'm going to utilize the smoothing tool, and you're going to see right away what it does. Yep, this is the perfect tool for the job here. It allows me to blend it in a little more seamlessly here around the edges, just like that. So the rockiness goes away as well, which is great. Just gives you more of a realistic blended look there. This part's a little more stubborn, so let me go ahead and increase my intensity. There we go. Now it's starting to blend a little bit better. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you can start blending your landscape in with the existing plane. But yeah, I'm pretty much not done yet. So let's go back to the materials and let's go now and start placing materials on this. So this grass is nice and all, but it's not matching my landscape. So that's probably the first thing I'm going to take a look at. I'm going to go ahead and go into my nature, and I believe this grass will blend in. I'll go ahead and drop this. Yep, that's roughly the same color. We'll talk more about how we can make it look a little more realistic. And then from there, if you see ground, we also have some man-made material. I'm just going to go ahead and drop some asphalt onto the existing asphalt plane there, just like that. All right, so already our environment is coming to life. I do have some concrete structures here, so let me go ahead and put in a more concrete look to it. If I don't like the ground concrete, I can always go to the, basic concrete here. And then, yeah, select the concrete I want to go with. Maybe fine concrete. That probably blends in a little bit too well. So let's do poured. Yeah, I think I like poured a little bit better. All right, perfect. So now that I have my land and everything else on the exterior pretty much done here, I can now go towards the building. Now, before I touch this building, there's other buildings here in the context. So with these buildings here, what I can do is I can go ahead and mask them with the same material. So maybe I want to put fine concrete on these background ones, and it changes them, almost immediately. So, yep. The reason why this one is not touched is because it's falling underneath another grouping folder. So I can show you where your scene graph is here, and here are all your children, which are basically your objects within each folder. So depending on which folder they fall into, here is the category that they will be categorized as. You can always change if you want to apply to a singular item here. So where it says replace material, you can just do it apply to object or apply to selected object. So you have a couple options there. But what I just did right there is perfect for the scenario I was given. So I'll go with that for now. All right, so now we can look towards the building here. I do notice a couple of fake trees that came from Revit, and I want to start to bring these to life. So I'm going to select one tree. The way that I can do this in bulk is right here where I selected the tree. Now I can see what kind of tree it is. So now everywhere that I see planting tree, honey or whatever this is, I can go ahead and just select them all at once. And now I can go ahead and right click or hit the three dots here and then replace my objects. All right. So now we'll go to my vegetation and let me go ahead and select some realistic trees here. So I have a whole slew of trees I can choose from. I personally like palm trees, so I will go with more of a palm tree look. Some to choose from here. Yeah, why not this one? Let's go with it. And you'll drag and drop it. Let me do that again. There we go. Then you will start your replacement. Looks like you're froze on me. Give me 1 second. Let me try it again. Hey, let me see if I can do that one. Not sure what's going on with it, but let me try it again. Replace object, and now let's go ahead and drag. Oh, I see exactly what's going on. So this is a perfect example of what it is. So before, in previous versions in Twinmotion, and it looks like they updated this in 2025, but in 2024 and below, all these trees were preloaded into Twinmotion. Now, it looks like some of these trees have been added to the Twinmotion library. However, they are still housed in the cloud. How do I know they are housed in the cloud? because there's this little download arrow here at the top right corner of it. But as you can see here, I cannot click it to download. So whenever this happens, this is because you are not signed in. So you have to sign in to make sure that you're signed into your Epic Games account, and this will give you access to the cloud library. Now I can go ahead and preload this to my actual Twinmotion library for further use going further. Before, this was not an option here in the tree category, but I guess since they expanded the tree library, you know, that was added. But essentially before, it was only on, I believe, some Sketchfab materials and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. I think it is loading. Yeah, it might take a while to download from the cloud. So let me just use something that I already have native to the system here, to my library. Yeah, it looks like I have a canary date palm, so let me use that and start my replacement. There we go. Now all those trees have been replaced in real time. Now I just have to worry about these bushels and stuff like that here at the top. So again, same mechanism. I'll just go ahead and select one of them, right? And I can see here that these are housed underneath these folders here. So I can go ahead and select site potting tree right there, planting tree, and yep, we'll start with those two. Let's go ahead and start our replacement. Yeah, let's go with this one. Start replacement. That's a little bit big. So what I can do here is I can age these down, change the ages of the trees to reduce the size. Pretty easy. All right, now I just have a couple more shrubberies here. So maybe I shouldn't go to trees. Maybe I should go back to my vegetation and go into bushes. All right. So now I have that. Yeah, this one's also called planting tree. So let's go ahead and select this one, and I will select this one, and this one, and this one, this one. Now I'm kind of just doing, I'm kind of just eyeballing this and finding it individually like this. If I wanted to, I could use the search functionality here, and then I can find everywhere where it says planting tree. Select it from there as well. So I'll do that next. For now, let me just focus on these. Let me go ahead and replace these. I'm going to replace it with this one and start replacement. All right, there we go. And if the size is too small, we can just age this up, make it a little bit larger, just like that. Let's go with something else. Replace object. Let's go to vegetation. Let's go back to trees, and let's do this one. And then I'm just going to age it down a little more. There we go. That should be good. All right. So yeah, like I was saying, if I wanted to find multiple of these plants, I can. So now all I will do is type in planting. Now it'll bring up everything like my shrubs and all of that. So I'm going to go there and select all of these here. And what you're going to do is you're going to shift select. Whoops, I missed one. So if you miss one, you can control select as well. That will select all of them for you. And then you'll just right click the same way and replace your objects. So this time I'm going to go back to bushes, and let's go ahead and replace it with these. Start a replacement. Ah, perfect. So that looks nice. All right, so we brought our scene to life. Perfect. So looks much better from what it was originally. Now I'm going to go ahead and focus on the external material here. So now I can go to my material, and since we have some grass siding, let's go with grass again. So go to ground, go to nature, and let's use the same matching grass as what we used for the ground. There we go. If I don't like the tint of this, if this is just a little bit too dark, I can always change the tint of my grass to something lighter. This will then brighten it up a little bit more for you as well. So you can also change the luminosity of your material and other things as well, like grunge, to bring it more to life. Since it's grass material, maybe I want to increase that and make it maybe darken the luminosity a little bit more. But yeah, there's a bunch of things you can do to modify these material. Let me go ahead and looks like we have some aluminum panels here. So let's go to metal and let's find some brushed aluminum, and let's go ahead and place that material there. Yep, you can't see it, but it did change the material. Again, we can change the brightness or the luminosity, and then we can add some grunge to it as well. But yep, that should be good. Again, we can change our our tint color as well, so that we can definitely see more of a change. Looks like right here we have some bricks, so I'm going to go ahead and place some brick material there. Let's look at our brick. You have a slew of brick material that you can choose from. I like clean brick, so let's go with clean brick here. There we go. Right. Looks like these are all housed separately, so we're going to go ahead and just drag and drop it on each one. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and enhance the trim a little bit more as well, so let's do that. Let's go to the trim, and looks like we have some concrete material there, so let's go with bare concrete and place it there. Perfect. Now that looks a little more brought to life, so that's good. Now let's go to the window plane, the glass itself. So I might want to utilize some blue glass, tinted glass. Yep, that gives me a better look overall, and it replaced all the windows for me, so that's good to note as well. So if you're trying to do some quick renderings, applying to replace all objects is always the best way to go. All right, so yeah, I've enhanced the outside. Let's go into the inside and enhance one of these rooms as well, because we are going to take an interior photo of the site as well. So I'll go into this room right here. Looks like this room is already looking pretty nice, but we can make it a little bit better. So let's go to wood, and let's take a look here at the different type of wood material we have. Maybe we want the same floor pattern. So let's try this one here. All right, so that just made it a solid color, but worry not. I can go ahead and enhance this. So now I'll go to my scale, and I will start to enhance my flooring. Perfect. So now you can kind of see the floorboards now. Before you couldn't. And then now if I want to brighten it up a little more, I can increase the luminosity. Then I can also change the type of shade of brown that we're using. Let's try something like that. Oh, that's perfect. All right. So yeah, and then if you want to utilize grunge, you can. I personally don't like to use grunge on wooden material. I like to use it on marble flooring. But yeah, we'll just keep that as is. So that looks good. Now we'll just go to the wall. Now there's a couple things I can do with the wall. If I go to, for example, the Sherwin-Williams site, I can go ahead and search for search for that, the paint type that I'm looking for. So let's do that. Let's go to Sherwin-Williams here. And let's go to our paint colors. All right, so it looks like we have a few paints. Maybe I want to go with more of a beige wall color, so I'll search beige. And it looks like we have one that came up here, drift to mist. Looks nice. So a little bit blandish to me. Let's go back. So search again, beige. I saw something that came up. Ah, there we go. Yeah, softer tan, something like that. It's probably good. All right, and what I can do here now is I can go ahead and find the SW value or the hex value, sorry. And I believe it's here in full, yep, full detail hex value. This right here is what I'm going to go ahead and copy. I believe I just need the letters. I don't need the tag. So now I can just go back in here and I'm going to take my paint dropper, my eyedropper, and then I will go into the tint. And right here where it's asking for the hex value, we'll just paste that and hit OK. Perfect, just like that. I got my Sherwin-Williams paint here on the wall. So just like I wanted. We can leave the baseboard trim. I think that's fine, but yeah, everything else looks good. I do want to enhance these lights a little bit more. So what I can do is I can go ahead into my lighting and I can go ahead and select different light rays and stuff like that. So maybe something like this. Yep, just like that. This one in the middle, I'll probably make it more of a spot. Yep. And this one right here, let's go with the same IES that we used on the other one. Just like that. Yeah, so I have more lighting here now. It is casting a little more of a shadow now, so what I can do here is I can put some wall lights here to brighten it up a little more. Lightings don't just have to go on the lighting material itself. You can put light anywhere. Maybe you want to cast like some brightness and stuff like that. You can do so. So let me try that again. Maybe something like that. Okay, that works. Oops. And that's another thing, if you're working on the interior, it's probably a good idea to always change your sensitivity, maybe to like cycle speed or something. That way you're not, when you're zooming in and out, you can actually pan through. But yeah, I'm almost done. Let me go ahead and add some furniture here as well. So let's go ahead and add some furniture. Let's go to our objects right here. And let's go into home. Let's go into bedroom. And let's check out some of these beds. So that's a closet area right there. So maybe I'll put my bed right here. Sometimes it'll snap to the location or rotation that you want it to be. Sometimes it won't, and you'll have to make further modification. But yeah, that's fine. It's pretty easy. I'll just go to my gizmo tool here and I'll go ahead and rotate it. Just like that. And then I'll place it against the wall right here. Cool. Now I can go ahead and add a little more context here. So maybe some storage unit here, something like this. All right, I might want to scale this a little bit more down, so let's go ahead and do that. There we go. So I'll change back to my move tool, and the gizmo right there, perfect. All right, so yeah, now that we have that in place, let's go ahead and add some characters. So now we can go to our characters here, and we can either do, animated humans or posed humans. In this case, I can do a posed human here, and any human will be fine, just like that. And then from there, I can enhance it further. Actually, since if you do posed human, you're not able to manipulate their positionings. So I'm going to go with animated human instead, just like that. Now I can change them to sitting position. Rotate them a little bit, just like that. All right. You also have different sitting positions you can be at, like, reading a book or playing on a tablet, anything like that. So just all depends. All right, so I think that's enough context for the interior here. Let's go back to the exterior. We're almost done here. So now let me go ahead. I know we're going to take some still images here, but what I like to do is I want to put some cars in motion. That way I can utilize the motion blur effect on the images. So let's go to our vehicles here, and let's go, and actually before I do that, I will just do populate instead, since we're trying to do moving vehicles. And I will go ahead and start drawing some paths. So I'm going to draw a vehicle path here. Let me angle this so that I can encompass the whole plane. And I'm still in cycle speed, so let me change it to drive speed so I can zoom out a little bit faster here on the exterior. And now I'll just start to click to create my motion plane. Perfect. So now I have that. I can increase the density. That's going to put in, more vehicles. I can increase the speed, but since it's more of a pedestrian area, I don't think the police will allow them to go that fast. So let's put at a normal traffic speed, and we decrease the intensity a little bit more. Be somewhere around there. It's a little bit less. Yeah, I think that's fine. Perfect. So yeah, this is probably a two-way road. So what we can do is we can do a two-way direction, just like that. And now cars are flowing in both directions. If I wanted to go ahead and just modify this plane a little bit more, I can do that. The more points you add, the more modifications you can do. So just keep that in mind as you're placing these. Sometimes you might wonder like, oh, why am I placing all these dots? This is the reason. So there we go. All right. So I think that's fine. It's not perfect, but it'll do. I don't think anybody will get run over here, hopefully. So all right. Now let's go and place some humans here walking around. So I'm going to also do another character path. And yep, I'll go back to my populate tool here, and I'm going to go ahead and select character, and yep, I'm just going to go ahead and start it around the same area. And then just escape it. So pretty similar functionalities here. We can increase the density, put more people there. Probably when it comes to pedestrians, we want to put as many as possible. just to give it more of a live context, and we can capture them in the photo. Let me see what will happen if I go down to this many. Yeah, right around here is fine. All right, and then we can change the width of the path itself. So, you know, we can make them a little more spread out, not too spread out, but yeah, just enough to make it seem a little more realistic and spontaneous, rather than having them just walking in a single file line, if that makes sense. I think I almost have it here. Perfect. So yeah, that'll do. Everybody's still walking on the path. Okay. All right. So yeah, let me just reduce a little more. All right, there we go. All right, so yeah, from there now, I think we have it. We can go ahead and add another path if need be, maybe for biking and stuff like that. Increase the speed a little more. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, you can see that it's really all coming together. Now let me just add a couple more enhancements here. Maybe I want to do some stuff to the sky. So let's go ahead and create a path here for the sky. And I'll do a custom path. I'll do a couple custom paths here. But maybe I want to show a plane, you know, high in the sky there. So it's a little bit tricky when playing around with the sky, but just kind of think of this more as a 3D plane, you know, that you are, so going down will obviously bring it down, going up will obviously make it go higher. So I know it's a little bit tricky to do when looking at it from a 2D vantage point like I am, but you know, Twinmotion fills in the gaps pretty well. So just try your best, and then you can go ahead and replace the object here. I don't want a floating box, so let's go ahead and do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select, yep, that box, and then I'm going to go into my vehicles, and let's go ahead and select a plane, drag and drop that. Now it's a little bit intimidating, so let's go ahead and customize this a little more. The size of the plane, let's go ahead and reduce it. I think that's a little bit better. Maybe we can change the plane itself. There we go. Yep, looks a lot more realistic now. And then let me add one more sky one here. So go back to populate, and let's do another custom path. And let's just do a, yep, one that just kind of goes around here in the sky. And we'll just close that loop there. And then I'll just put a hot air balloon in the sky. Again, just reduce the size, just so that we have more context here, you know, in our skies. Speaking of the skies, now that we're here at this part, the final thing I want to do here is go ahead and enhance my skies. Now, how am I going to do that? Here in Twinmotion 2025, you have some abilities that were just recently added. So I believe if I go to, let's go to dynamic sky. Perfect. So yeah, not in your HDRI sky, but the dynamic sky. I'm going to go ahead and give myself some room here. And yeah, I think if I go to my appearance settings, or sorry, let's go down to clouds. Perfect. So here I have some cloud options, which is amazing. I can do either 2D clouds or I can do 3D clouds, and I can go ahead and put in how many clouds I want. So if I increased it, this is my 2D clouds. But let's take a look at the volumetric ones. I think you guys will like that a little bit better. Yep, just like that, a little more 3D-ness to it, and you know, you can really start to make these clouds come together. I think that's fine. So yeah, I pretty much like how that looks. You can also change things like the seasonality. So if you want it to rain more and stuff like that, you know, sunny and rainy. And then if you wanted to change this season to like winter, you can. And then if you turn on the rain from here, it will it will start snowing. So you know, a couple of things just to point out there. I like the summer days. Warm weather is my thing, so let's go with that. All right. Now, just to finish up this context, let me go ahead and add some cars here. Control Z. Let me try that again. Yep. Just a couple parked cars. Let's show that, you know, these drivers went to the DMV and know how to park. So there we go. All right, so I think 2 is enough. All right, now for the renderings. Let's go now to our media file. And let's go ahead now and take some images. So I'm going to take a couple. Let me do one close-up shot here of the building and everything around it. So maybe something like this would be nice. So I'll take a shot here. And let's go ahead and do a more zoomed out shot, one that will show everything from here beyond so that we can see the plane and everything like that. Okay. And yeah, I think one right here will be good too. And from there, I'll go into the interior and I'm going to take a shot in there too. So yeah, something like this. I'll go ahead and take a photo. Take a photo of the whole room here. All right, I think this will be a good image right there. Perfect. All right, so I have my 4 media files here. Now what can I do from there? If I go into each photo here, you'll notice you'll have a whole slew of options there. So you have some camera options, some rendering options. I can turn all these photos into lumen photos, which will basically keep track of the light bouncing off of the image itself. So that's something I like to do to enhance it a little bit further. Just like that. So that's a real simple thing you can do to start with. And then obviously you can change the effects and stuff like that. But I think I'm good with that. One thing I do want to point out with Twinmotion 2025 now, you do have the ability to change your roll angle. So what that is exactly is, yep, just like that. What it's doing, it's not rotating the image at all. It's actually rotating the camera. So think of this as you actually taking this photo and you want to just basically change the angle that you're taking the photo at. So that right there is what that does. And then yeah, we can take a look at everything else. Right here is the format. So if you want it to be 2K, 4K, or 8K, you can do that, or you can manually change the output itself for the width and the height if you know what type of pixels you want. Speaking of width and height and pixels, I do want to point out some camera settings that you do have here. So you have, if this was a video, you can enable your film back, which will allow you to basically change the size of the viewpoint that you're trying to use, 16:9, DSLR, et cetera. So any of you familiar with those, you can utilize that. You can also turn on your depth of field on some of these images. Let me turn off this. But yeah, your depth of field, if you want to do a pick focus. Maybe you want to focus on this person right there. You can't really see too much on the interior, but it's supposed to blur out the background and stuff like that. But yeah, you can also change your lens, your focal length, and stuff like that. So if you wanted to, focus in a little bit more, change the exposure and stuff like that, the shadows and highlights. Maybe I want the shadows to show a little bit more. But yeah, I think that about does it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and export my images here. And let's go ahead and select all of our images. And let's go ahead and start our export render. You'll just select any folder that they're going to fall into. You'll just give it a few minutes here. Don't worry about the initial timing. It reduces significantly. These are not, the highest quality images that I just rendered out. They're pretty basic, so it shouldn't take too long. If you were to go like 8K or 16K, something like that, it will obviously take a lot longer. But yeah, this rendering right here should take less than 5 minutes, hopefully here. But yeah, let's see what it does. Give it a couple minutes. Yeah, so the rendering is done. This is what the image came out to be like. Nice, crisp image. Again, this is not, the end all be all. You are able to enhance this further. I just kind of did this, pretty quickly. But for a pretty quick render, I think this came out okay. You do have, if your computer supports it, you do have the path tracer ability as well, which will basically do ray tracing on your model to make it look a little more realistic, make the people look a little more realistic, stuff like that. But essentially, this is what you're looking at, at the end for your renders. I'm just pulling up the other rendering images that we did. Yep, there's that hot air balloon there in the air, and then there's the clouds, the volumetric clouds, stuff like that. And then we also had one more, the interior one as well. Yeah, that one's a little bit further distance, and then, sorry, it's taking a little bit.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead. If there's any other questions, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can a specific location be loaded? For example, typing an address in downtown LA?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, I can show you that right now. What's pretty cool about Twinmotion is that you can pretty much bring in any location. So you can go to the populate tool here, similar to where I was, and you can go to urban, and then let's say Los Angeles, for example. Yep, Los Angeles, California. Now, yep, I can select any specific area. This Harbor Freeway right here with the studios here in the background. Depending on what I'm encapsulating is what's going to come in. So I have a couple of buildings here, so let's just do that real quick. Now, depending on OpenStreetMaps, because this is a direct integration with them, oh, it looks like I can't do it right now because of my internet. But depending on OpenStreetMaps, some of these buildings will be named and some of these won't. So unfortunately, I can't demonstrate it for you. It's actually a pretty cool feature, but it will bring in all of the buildings and all of the roadways, and it will name some of them for you as well.
That's cool. All right, Andrew's asking, how does Twinmotion material/textures handle wrapping around corners?
Wrapping around corners. I think it does it pretty well. So it's as simple as pretty much just applying your material to the wall, and it'll basically encompass everything. So like this wall right here, maybe I don't want to change my beige wall, but yeah, let's go somewhere right here. And then if you were to just apply the material, like I'll just do concrete. Yep, in real time, it'll curve and fill in the gaps for you. You don't really have to do much. Hopefully that answers that question.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when you were talking about the location tool, is that something that's available in the 2025, or does 2024 have that capability?
I believe, to my knowledge, anything above 2022 will have that capability.
Okay, Hilmar, hopefully that works for you. All right, so we got.
This is my final render for the interior, by the way. I was able to open it up, but yeah, this is how it came out. You can see it's a little bit blurry. That was done on purpose because if you remember, I did a pick focus, and I basically my focal length blurred out the rest of the background so I can focus on this individual here. But yep. Yep, keep going with the questions there.
I use SketchUp for rendering. Does this software usage vary from what is shown?
If you're asking if the models are different depending on where you're exporting from, Twinmotion does support Sketchfab models as well. You'll just have to convert it to a UDatasmith file, but essentially it's I don't know if the elements will be as defined as Revit is, because right here in your scene graph, you'll have everything pretty much listed just like that. I haven't used Sketchfab in the past, but if you are able to, have the same level of detail in Sketchfab, then that should carry through to Twinmotion as well. Hope that answers the question.
Okay, I have two for Ben. Can you let us know how we can add bitmaps / PBRs of real world off the shelf materials?
Yes. I can't show it to you, but I can tell you how it's done. So the first way is Quixel Megascan. So if you have a subscription to this, I believe you can bring in your scan materials this way. So here's just a couple of samples of what's already in Twinmotion. But if you utilize the import function as well, you do have the ability to import point cloud, which will allow you to import basically a point cloud of your scanned material, whatever scanning tool that you're using externally. But I believe it needs to be in a IES file or something like that, or not IES, sorry. It's some file. It's not coming up into my mind right now, but yeah, just make sure it's in the right format and you can import that in there.
Okay, I had no idea that it was after 2. So here's the last slide for today. Again, if anybody has any questions or questions that we might not have gotten to today, I think I got most of them. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions or if you need a copy of today's recording. So with that, as always, thanks, Ramsey, and thanks so much, everybody, for joining us.